Do any of you know what the chances of you ever being born mathematically are? They're mathematically, and again, this isn't just about you being born. What you have to understand is your specific strand of DNA has had to survive for billions of years, okay? For the specific sperm and the egg that made you, you also have to take into account the sperm and the egg that made your individual parents, then the grandparents, and then so on and so on. They have calculated mathematically that our chances of being born are 1 in 400 trillion. Now that is with the mathematics that they can equate. If you add micro-variables such as weather conditions on the day that your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather maybe came home from work, if the amount that the doctor had drunk the day when the baby was born, wars, famine, epidemics, they have tried to calculate it to a number and they cannot. So they say the chances of us being born is 0%. Yet, we are all here. In that sense, we are an extraordinary, extremely outstanding, unusual event, thing, or accomplishment that was previously thought of as impossible or with a very low probability of happening. We are in a room full of miracles. What a life. It truly is. It's the way I ground myself. It's the way I take that breath. People hear me say it a lot. I could say it as something big like the walk out of Christian Eckling, or I could say it as something small like watching my daughter play piano without me asking her to go and do it. Those are the moments where you need to take that breath. There's a technique they use, cognitive therapy technique for anxiety, which is the rubber band. So the way it works is the rubber band, you attach it to your wrist, and when you start to feel anxiety, you pull it, you do that, you create pain in the body. The brain, the body then starts associating pain with anxiety, and then it tries to separate it so you don't feel that. I do it opposite. I use my what a life as a reward. So I make sure that there's moments where I will say it or see it or even watch people have their moment. And I say it out loud because that's me hitting the rubber band. So what a life to me is not a simple 3-letter sentence. It's the gift I give myself again and again. It's the reward I give myself for the hard work, for the late nights, for the travel, for being away from my family. It's the moment, and it's given me many moments that I look back on and I can feel it, I can remember it, and I'm grateful that I was there for it. So, in our terms, what a fucking life. Look at what we create. If we were to take it out of the simple home or individual, look at that. That is spectacular. It is a pilgrimage of people coming together to be part of an event, of something, to be more than themselves, to get away from themselves, to cheer on their heroes, to have a good time, all focused on that cage. We are so blessed, and we kind of forget it because we're always talking about the next event, or we've always got something else on our mind, or we're always trying to be better, that we are at that cage. We stand there, we pull these moments together, we come up with these ideas, and we create what is there, which is a coming together. And if you look at these guys, they are in the moment. What a life. They are cheering on their hero, their friend, their fan, and they will have saved money to do that. Like, seriously saved money to come to do this. They will have been looking forward to it. It will have motivated them to get out of bed. It would have been the thing that they were ticking their clock down to this weekend, where those 3 guys will be together to watch whoever it is in that cage do whatever they do. They have made that moment, which could be the moment of their weekend, it could be the moment of their month, it might be the moment of their year. That could be the biggest moment of their life. We should never forget that, truly, because it's spectacular. Fighters want to fight for us. I went to Renegade Gym, and they're all wanting to speak to you. They're all asking about OKTAGON. They've heard about the environment we create. They've heard about the events, the walkouts, the fans. And look at all these people are part of this moment, but we made that moment. Every single person that has, whether it's the drivers, whether it's the people who carry the water to the things, whether it's the marketing team, whether it's the events team, every single part mattered to make that moment. The best bit I like about this is everyone that is in the moment here, but he's still working. Mikhail Pavel, yeah, he is as close as anybody could dream to be. That's like being close to Lionel Messi walking out for a World Cup final to collect the trophy. But he's checking, he's doing his job. And he deserves it, that's why he's that good. But I also see with Mikhail Pavel, one of my favourite things is when the events got over the top and it's all running and it's getting to the main events, he comes and sits with you guys. And I see him relax, and I see him enjoy, and I see him raise a glass, and I see you have the conversations, and I see you take in the moment. And that's his what a life moment. The job is done, he can relax, he can enjoy it. The other thing that we create with what we do was put very eloquently by this guy.
Everything that I have been experiencing here, very, very strict, very on time. I like it. I like that OKTAGON is not just a company. I feel that it's more like a family, and they really, you know.
He said OKTAGON is not just, you know, it's a family. Again, we shouldn't be lost on that. That is, I've worked for other promotions. We are unique, completely unique in the experience for the fan and the fighter. The golden age, the human algorithm. Again, this is the trap. We can be in this room together, but we can be 1,000 miles away at the same time. There has never been more access to information, more ways to connect socially in business for love, and there's never been more access to entertainment and the arts. But that can cause distractions as well. I think you are what you eat. If you just digest shit, negativity, whether that's online or even with the people you hang around with, it doesn't lead to a healthy life. I don't watch mainstream media. Personally, I've have friends that I will be friends with for life, but they are a different energy. There is the negativity every time you sit down with them. They don't cheer you when you have successes. They don't, you know, they actually maybe in some respect enjoy when you fail. These people exist. They can be family members, they can be friends, they can be part of, you know, close thing. For me, as an algorithm, I cut them out. I still see them, I still that, but I realize they're not going to give me the input that I need to go where I need to go. And so that's just one bit of advice for that. The hunt for inspiration. Inspiration is everywhere. If I sat and had a conversation with each of you, there'd be something, and I know there is, if I spoke to you that would inspire me, or I would learn about you, or yeah. So just be open to it. The conversation you had with an older lady in Spain has inspired what we did in Birmingham. Be open to it. You know, we are basically receivers of energy, of information. So be open to that. Guinness. How important has Guinness been in OKTAGON? Yeah, it sounds silly, but this is, we would, me, Pavel and Lucas, there they are, handsome chaps. We would be in Manchester, this is before OKTAGON Challenge, before Stage to the Cage, and we would have long days. We would travel around, we'd meet fighters, we'd go to gyms. We would come back to the hotel that we were staying at, and you're tired, you're hungry, but we want to create whatever the format would be for OKTAGON Challenge, some of the ideas. We wanted that. So one thing we did, and we just had one Guinness each. Sit there with one Guinness, and it completely changed our tone. So it went from, you know, just being, oh, tired business people to, okay, let's go. And we clink the glass. Again, it's 1 pint of Guinness each. And from that, so many solutions, so many answers, so much energy came back in that now it's a thing. So if we're together and we need to think or solve some problems, we take a Guinness. And the Guinness might play no part, but it just gives us that, don't know, that condition that we understand, right, we're here. We're not going to talk about work or numbers. We're going to be creative and we're going to come up with solutions. So just be aware of that for yourselves. That's me. I fucking love my job, okay? I love it. That is my favorite place to be in the world, doing what I do. And the reason I love it, as a commentator, I could very easily just read you numbers. I could tell you knockouts, I could tell you height, reach, I could tell you, you know, their last 5 fights, whether they've won or lost. I could break it down very simply in numbers for you, but that doesn't give me that look in the eye. What gives me the look in the eye, what makes me work harder than I've ever worked on anything before in my life, is the stories, it's the human stories. And I feel a responsibility to inspire an audience by the start of a fight. Most fighters, most audience members won't know the red corner or the blue corner. So if I can tell their story as they come up to the cage, if I can make you feel something about them, about this fight, about the situation, about their sacrifice, about their story, then when you watch, you have picked a side. When you watch, you care about one of these fighters, and you know something about them, not just a guy in the red corner, a guy in the blue corner. So for me, it's a big thing that I look for, and it's one of the reasons that you might see me when I'm in the restaurants with fighters. I won't sit down and interview them, but I'll just bump into them and I'll ask them some questions or just have a little conversation, and that can give me a hook or a link in. And when we look at our fighters, we have so many inspirational stories, and we shouldn't forget that. Hael Javier, he did this. He walked from Iran to Germany to change his life. Can you even imagine what your life must be like? To leave your home, to walk all that way, nearly 5,000 kilometers. He did go past Slovakia and the Czech Republic, but don't be offended, all right? But can you imagine what that journey must be like? What the drive, what the inspiration, the will, the want to do that, to change his life. It's an incredible feat. And he did it, and he did change his life. He changed his family's life. He's now a citizen of Germany. He's now an octagon fighter. Phenomenal. Louis Glissman. Louis Glissman is some guy. So him and his team, Alongsid Training and being a big part of the community, they work with young people that are disaffected, young people in care, young people that have been affected by lives with drug abuse, sex abuse, and young people that have had harder life in 10 years than we will ever face in our entire existence. Through jiu-jitsu and martial arts, they bring them in, they give them a family, they give them training, they give them focus, they give them energy. They don't tell them they'll fix their problems, but if you've ever rolled in jiu-jitsu, if you've ever sparred, the only moment they exist in is right there. And from that, they have turned a lot of these young people's lives around. Hael Javier, an incredible story which we documented from the favelas, only ever met his dad in the prison, very nearly got pulled into the drug community, very nearly got pulled into the gang community, realised that he had to fight his way out, asked his mother if he could do Muay Thai. Now his mother saw what happened with his father, so only associated violence with a bad thing, but she saw the want in his eyes, and the greatest thing she said to him was yes. From that, he changed his life. He now flies around the world. That is his beautiful family there, and that's his daughter from Brazil. I don't know if anyone knows this, but he was in a court case for 2 years trying to get her from Brazil to Germany. That's his record during those 2 years, 2018 to 2019. 3 losses, 1 win. He won that court case 2 weeks before he fought Plesnik in Octagon. His daughter was then coming to live with him, live with his beautiful wife, Elena, to be part of their family over here to change her life. From that moment, he went on a tear and a 4-fight win streak. So you just look at how that aligned and what he did. And then we have this guy, ABY. He's a very good friend of mine. And yeah, I'll show you. He went through this. So he got diagnosed with testicular cancer in 2017. This is his comeback fight, almost 2 years to the day later. Not only with cancer, but he was born with cystic fibrosis. His parents were told he would possibly live to the age of 16. They were told not to put him in sport, but his dad and his uncle put him in football, put him in martial arts. Played with Aaron Ramsey, Gareth Bale, but chose fighting as his career. Had a lot of success. And again, if you don't know what cystic fibrosis is, it's a lung condition. And then in 2017, he was diagnosed with testicular cancer. 2 years, 6 rounds of chemotherapy and 2 operations. A lot of people don't know this, but because of the cystic fibrosis, he couldn't have the operations under a general anaesthetic. He had them under a local anaesthetic. So they operated on him. He got through it, but he was given the clear in 2019, but we were told at the end of 2018 to say goodbye to Aaron ABY. So I had this moment where I went to an event and I didn't say physically goodbye to him, but I thought that would be the last time I would ever see him. And then 2 years later, he made the walk back to the cage. He was told he'd never fight again. He overcame that. One of my proudest moments was welcoming him back to the cage. Now this fight was crazy. It ended in a draw, which isn't the fairy tale ending, but as Aaron ABY always says, nothing sort of ends on a high for him. He always has to fight for everything he gets. But the fact that he survived through cystic fibrosis, beat cancer, and you see this talk, because what cancer took away from him wasn't just 2 years of his career. He's not able to, his lung function is much lesser than it was, and he's got cystic fibrosis. He's now unable to be a dad because they had to take both of his testicles, so that dream of being a father, and it was a dream of his, was taken away from him. But this guy's an inspiration. This is Chris. He's not an octagon fighter. So Chris is a dad. Chris is a dad to Arthur. And Arthur was born with cystic fibrosis. 4 years ago, Chris was sat at 2 o'clock in the morning on his computer in a position where no father wants to be. The worst thing you can have as a child is watch them be ill. Even if my daughter falls over and hurt her knee, I want to take that pain. But still, the information with cystic fibrosis was his life, Arthur's life, would be limited. His life expectancy would be 20 to 21 at the most. He wouldn't have a normal life like normal kids. Now, as a dad, when you're staring down that barrel and helpless, you don't know what to do. This guy was Googling cystic fibrosis, and he Googled and he found an article about Aaron ABY, an article called Fighting to Breathe. And from that article, he messaged at 2 o'clock in the morning, Aaron ABY, and that one message, which Aaron has taught to him for 4 years, taught to him about his son, guided him through the condition, showed him what's possible, that didn't just change the kid's life, that changed the dad's life as well. He no longer lived in that fear that his son wouldn't be able to do the things that he wanted to do. This is at Newcastle, the first time they ever met. They've been in communication for 4 years. I don't know if he's going to play. There we go. And again, the sound's not on this, but this is the first time they've ever met, and the guy just broke down in tears when he saw Aaron ABY. This is after Aaron's victory. What we also, you see Aaron give him the T-shirt there. What you also don't understand is that 2 weeks before that, his son Arthur had his first jiu-jitsu lesson. That is a kid whose life has changed because of one of our fighters. That is a kid whose parents are no longer scared of what their son can be, what their son can do because of one of our fighters. That is the power of inspiration. That is truly unlocked a whole world and given them so much more. And again, we have to recognize what we do, the platform we give fighters, the fact fighters want to come up to us, the fact we are the best in the world at telling the stories of the fighters, because we never know where that story will go, who will see it, or whose life could be changed. So that's why we have a magical and special power that when we're having hard days, when things aren't going our way, when we're busy, we've got to remember that together as a team we have a superpower, and that is the power of Octagon. So, what a life.